I have driven by the house many times. I think about that rocking horse often, and it scares me. It absolutely scares me. It's real estate story time with Stephanie. It's time for your Halloween edition of Spooky Real Estate Stories. Today, we're just going to talk about some of the creepiest things I've ever seen in homes. Now, some of these things may not be creepy to everybody, but when you're in the moment, they are definitely creepy. So one that stands out for me in particular is a single rocking horse in a basement. So this home was beautifully staged. It was for sale by owner. So my client, who was a single woman at the time, and myself went to meet this for sale by owner in his home. He was giant. He must have been 6.5 feet tall. He was built, he was in great shape, and he had a very
deep voice.
He was very nice. The house was impeccable, like serial killer impeccable. Dexter was on at the time. Everyone was kind of talking about that serial killer vibe. It was a thing. We go through the house, it's fine. We go to the basement. That's where it got really creepy. The only thing in his basement was a single wooden rocking horse. The house was spotless. The laundry room was spotless. The furnace room was spotless. And we're standing there and he's there. We've gone through the whole house. I feel generally quite safe in a home until the basement sometimes. I don't know why, but I feel like more murders happen in basements. I'm sure that's not true. But this impeccably kept home with this impeccably kept man who could have basically picked both of us up at one time, smashed us together and murdered us in his basement, was down there with us, and this weird, creepy rocking horse meant to lure children, I'm not sure. Anyways, we did not buy the house. It still gives me the heebie-jeebies. I have driven by the house many times. I think about that rocking horse often, and it scares me. It absolutely scares me. Other creepy things I've seen in homes, obviously the snakes. We talked about snakes before. Snakes in homes always get me. Basements often will get me if they're like dirt floor basements especially. If you think there are bodies buried down there, there probably are. It's absolutely terrifying to go down to a dirt floor basement in a house. Often on a dirt floor basement, the electrical's not really up to code. It's some kind of stone foundation. The walls are crying from all the things they'd seen. It is a terrifying situation. Some of the creepy things I think about in homes are not meant to be creepy. They are simply terrible renovations. A wooden toilet tank stands out for me. It was in a single room. I have a photo, I'll link it. It was in a single room. It was a sad toilet all by itself, but it had a wooden tank. It looked like the homeowner had accidentally cracked the porcelain tank and thought, I'm not gonna spend money to buy a new one of these. I'm just gonna make a wooden tank myself. So that was definitely one that stands out as terrifying. Also, I know you've all seen it, but the wall-to-wall, floor-to-ceiling brown shag carpet in a bathroom was beyond anything I've ever seen in a home. It was terrifying. In that same bathroom, the tub surround was wooden. So I have pictures as well. They're painted with flowers, but it is a wooden tub surround. All of those things are terrifying to me because of what is behind them. How much urine is under that carpet? How much mold is on that wood on the back side? How much mold is behind the carpet? What has happened to this home? Those things are terrifying. I've seen more than my fair share of grow-ops as well. So you see what that does to a home. I've seen mold growing up a wall that someone's painted over. And my client said, oh, look at the textured walls. To which I looked at it and said, that's not texture, that's mold that they've lipsticked over. So be cautious of things like that. In a grow up, I've seen full-on holes go right from the basement through the main floor for ventilation, up in the closets and out the roof for extra ventilation. It's terrifying to see the kind of work that gets done to a home to make it into a grow up. Obviously no longer much of an issue. I've also seen a grow up with a manhole that could be crawled through, out of a foundation, into the ground and to the main hydro line. So it had an absolutely huge tunnel that someone crawled through to splice the main line. It's terrifying because I'm sure somebody died in that home while they were doing that kind of splicing. That's super, super dangerous. So those are the kinds of terrifying things. Oh, the taxidermy house. I have seen, I have photos of that too. It was a house full of taxidermy animals. Lots of people have taxidermy animals in their home, whether it be a pet or, you know, a moose head on the wall, or maybe something else they caught. They're generally terrifying to begin with, but this house was full of them. That's something I would have asked my clients to remove. Every single room, every wall, everywhere in this house was all these taxidermy animals. I think when we left, we counted over 40 of them. There were a lot, and it was really weird. They weren't all prize animals either, raccoons and squirrels and things like that. It was such a strange set of animals. I understand when someone puts a beautiful bird or a moose up, but oh my gosh, a squirrel? Who cares? They're in my backyard. I don't need to see them taxidermied in my house as well. Another one that stands out is a house that was covered in balloons on the wall. So it was the couch, and the gentleman was home. He was sitting on the couch, and behind him was an entire wall full of balloons. And behind the balloons were like little tiny holes. Obviously, I had to ask. I can't have the homeowner home and see a weird wall of balloons and not ask. And he said that when his grandkids come over, they get to use darts to throw at the wall at a balloon, and they get to choose a prize or whatever's in the balloon. I just thought it was so creepy. I know some people do things with their kids that, you know, might be fun for them, but seem weird in a house. Another one I saw was a cold storage room. Also, people find those generally to be a pretty creepy room. Cold storage room with like a single hanging light. It was swaying, creepy, and it had a really tiny chair below it. And that room locked from the outside, not from the inside. So it seemed very obvious to me that that was the timeout room where some sad child would get locked in with this single sad light on this tiny chair for timeout. And it's what nightmares are made of for people later in life. So there's lots of things in homes. I know you might have something purpose built for your house. Just ask your friends first before you list if it's creepy, because honestly, everyone's going to see it and think it's creepy anyways, so just keep an eye on it.